Hello darlings and welcome to this video. So today is going to be a lot different. It's actually going to be a lot different from here on out because I have gotten these very cute, very adorable avatars made by the amazing Emma Lupine. I don't really know how to pronounce that, but I'm gonna put her links in the my description, and please check her out because she's so awesome, she's so talented, and I just love her art. It's so great. Check her out, please do. So we all got those books that we once used to love when we first read them, but then we reread them and we realize something isn't right. Well, that doesn't really happen to me that often, to be honest. But there are a few books that I do read and I realize why and think about why did I like them. I usually like to reread books to find out what I like, what I don't like. So it usually makes me sad when a story who I really admired wasn't really the same when I tried to read them the second time around, and I realized I couldn't even finish them. This is one of those books. It's actually not a finished series yet, which is quite sad, since I've been reading these books for like a very long time, and we're talking about years here. So today I'm gonna look through one book series in particular to figure out why it doesn't work for me anymore, and also really figure out why I liked them from in the first place. So, which book series is the victim of today? Well, from the title you probably already know, but it's a Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch. And to be honest, this makes me a lot sad, I have to say, but because I have such deep, fond memories of these books. I got a lot of inspiration from them, and I think I really made the story different, especially the first book, different in my mind than what it is. So I read these books a few years ago, and I bought the books by my sister, so I decided just a year ago to buy them again for myself and try to read them. I got through the first book. I have not yet come through the second book. And there's a lot of different reasons for this, and I don't even think I'm going to be able to read the third book at all. I'm going to talk about why I have such a hard time with the story. Now, I think these books, especially the first one, was very good when I first read it because of the shock value and the mystery of it all. But when you already know everything and you know what's gonna happen, that mystery is kind of gone, and you're kind of stuck with the feeling of, oh yeah, I already know what's gonna happen and it's gonna fuck things up. And also knowing throughout the first book when you're reading it that this could have been so great, and it didn't turn out great in the end. And to be honest, just a few fixes have actually made the story a lot better. But I'm gonna get to that a little bit later on. So what ruined the first book and what actually ruined the rest of the book series is actually that he kills off everyone. I mean, it's good to kill your god darlings, but you don't have to kill off the whole fucking city. He builds up this world, builds up this society and community and characters that are so amazing and fantastic. And you just want to know more. You just want them to interact with the main characters more. And they don't. And they never will. Because everyone is freaking dead. Yay! So dead. I usually have a huge problem, with authors and creators overall that kills off all their characters, especially in the first book or movie or series or whatever. Don't kill off them in the beginning. I can kind of accept it if it's coming to the end, but not in the beginning. Because then you have the problem with that you have nothing to fall back on in case you get stuck with the story. This could have worked if Scott Lynch actually had a clear path of what he wanted to do with the whole story itself. But it seems to me that he doesn't have that. Because the second book is just all over the place, and that's also a thing I'm gonna get into later on. The second book could also have been great if he had fixed it a little bit better. And as I said, it's good to kill off characters, you shouldn't be too careful with them, but you can't kill off everyone, because he's already killed off that city. there's nothing more interesting in that city to come. And there's nothing to come back to them. There's no one who they can come and help. There's no one who can help them. There's nothing they can rely on. And that is sad. And I realized in the first book that the only characters I really cared about is the characters that's in this memory sequences. Because those characters are still there. And they're gonna be for a little while. But soon, everyone will be gone. Scotland actually had a really good concept for this story, and I just think that his focus got misplaced a lot. The thing is that the whole criminal aspect, a criminal mastermind, and criminal community is what was actually interesting in the whole story. But we barely got to know about it. We didn't get to know about the real connections between each other in the community. We didn't get any real connections between their town and community towards another town and community, and it seems like they did know each other from the second book, that there's some sort of connection there, but it could have been a lot better. It could have just one character, because that's the problem. Locke and John, especially Locke, is not good enough characters to hold up a whole story. The first book was so good because of all the characters around them. But he killed off all of those characters, and John really tries to keep up the story, but he's not enough. Locke is just bland and boring, unfortunately. And so reading through the second book, you could have actually done that story good, but you could have separated the two story entities, the two story lines. You could have separated those two into two different books. The first one is the heist with the spire. The second one is the heist on the sea, or whatever's going on. The whole thing of mixing those two did not work out well, and he could have fleshed out the characters a bit more that we already have and build more. He should have stayed focused. I have no idea where the focus lies in this story, and that's the problem. What is the story focus? Well, you tell me. I kind of feel like he wants to focus on the world and create the world, but not enough to explore it even more. He also feels like he wants to focus on the characters, but not enough there either, because he kills off all the interesting ones, and when he tries to replace those he already killed off with other similar characters, it doesn't work, because why would we want a copy of the things that we used to have? I mean, wasn't it better to just keep the old characters? Also, the focus, I suppose, is Locke and his journey. But as I said before, he's not an interesting character at all. He is very whiny, he's very boring, he's very bland. Sure, he's the mastermind, but he is nothing without his team. That could have been a very good focus of it all. It really put the focus. He did a little bit in the second book, but not enough. It could have been even more. It could be even more now. The focus on that Locke is nothing without his friends, and he has to realize that. I don't know, the story has just been messing with me for a long time. I am a very story-based person. I can enjoy most things as long as the story is sort of good. I can also enjoy it if the story isn't that good, but the characters are good. But mostly I usually like a good story. I can find some sort of entertainment in most things. But this, I couldn't really see how to get through it again. Because it just makes me so mad, know that he had so many missed opportunities. He could have done this so great. But I think his story got lost. He got lost in his story. He got lost in where he wanted to go, and that is understandable. It happens to everyone. But he never really found his way back. And the books takes years to make. And that must mess some things up. Sometimes that's really messy. You forget what you wanted to do in the first place, and then you do something else, and you're trying to patch things up, but then you can't because you've already had an idea and it got lost. So what could have saved the story? I had no idea, and I just hope the fourth book will save it. And now you might say, hey, what about Sabbatha? Isn't she an interesting character that can save the story? Not at all. She's not that interesting, and the love story between her and Locke, it's really not that interesting. It's not that spicy, and I don't give a fuck about it. It feels very Mary Sue like with that. What about the whole wizard thing? Isn't that interesting? Not anymore, to be honest. Because what will you do with it? It's so messy and it's not interesting enough. We barely know anything about it. We have a hint of it, but it seems like, it seems like we all got the answer. He isn't the rebirth of that wizard. We have nothing idea. Locke isn't that interesting of a story. He cannot keep up this whole story by himself. And John, yeah, he's interesting, but he is not enough either. He's not enough. None of them are enough. He should have kept at least one of the twins. Like, please, one of them. That would have been interesting. That would have been so interesting to see a twin criminal being like, I'm without my brother now, what will I do? Give spice to the story. Now, will I keep reading this book series? I probably will give the fourth book a chance, because I am curious and I have committed to it for years. But if that one isn't enough to save the whole book series, then I'm out. I don't have time wasting my time on those, especially waiting years for it. It's a bit sad because the first book really gave me really good inspiration for a lot of things. And it was actually a great book. Just only worked when you read it for the first time, sadly. And I hoped that he could have fixed it, that he could have done something more with the story. And I'm hoping already that he will do something better with the story. But we can't really know until we read the fourth book. I don't really know. I just hope. I have a huge hope. Please don't let me down. Please. So that was my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm really happy with these avatars. I've been gushing about them for a long time, been showing pictures of them. I'm just, these are amazing. Just look at these. Look at these. They're so cute and adorable. Emma is really, really talented. Check her out, please. Every link in the bio. In the bio. I'm not an Instagram dude. Every link in the description. And I will see you next time. See you later, darlings.